Namaste. This class is a little bit different in that I really want the focus of it to be about the mind. Yoga is all about the union of the mind, the body, the breath, the self, the universe. But so often our practice is very physical. Today, I want to make it about the mental side of it. So take a look at these words. These verbs describe the 7 tasks of the mind, which we're always doing one of these things. The mind is either planning, imagining, analyzing, judging, worrying, comparing, or remembering. You don't have to remember these words. I'm going to keep mentioning them during the class. But today I want us to think about what the mind is doing at any particular time, seeing if you can identify what it's up to. And the reason for this is that today I want you to see if Today, I want you to observe what is the mind doing at any point in time, noticing which of these things it's spending its time on. And the reason I want to do this today is because so often we don't really notice what the mind is doing in the background. And whilst all of those things are really important, it's important that we plan, it's vital to creativity that we imagine, we have to worry about things for our own safety and well-being. It's important to remember things when we need to. All of them have their role and can be very positive, but the brain has a tendency to ruminate. And especially if we're not in great mental health, this can be very negative. Our mind can take us down these negative tracks and they become routes that our mind goes into a little more easily each time. They become habits. So by noticing, observing what the mind is up to, then we can start to say, okay, we're doing this, and maybe we want to change from doing that. Maybe we want to stop, pause, reflect, and perhaps get a little more positive with our thoughts. The first stage in all of that is observing, noticing what the mind is up to. So let's give that a go today. Bring yourself to a comfortable seated position. Bring yourself to a comfortable seated position, settling down onto your block, cushion, the floor, lifting the spine up, crown of the head lifts towards the sky. The gaze is soft or eyes are closed. See if you can notice what is happening right now inside the mind. Is the mind planning, imagining, analyzing, judging, worrying, comparing, or remembering? And there's no judgment about what is good or bad, right or wrong. We're simply noticing. And start to take your focus to the breath. Breathing in and out of the nose, if that's okay for you. Letting those inhales slowly become deeper. The exhales gradually becoming longer. Seeing if you can keep the focus on what the mind is doing, as well as focusing, as well as concentrating on the breath. And keep that observation going as we now start to bring in some movement. Bring your hands to your heart. On the inhale, lift the chest into the thumbs. On the exhale, link the fingers, push the palms away, round the spine. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, hands coming down, touching the floor. Just the left hand now floats up on the inhale, and over we go into a side bend on the exhale. Breathing into the side of the body here, 3 nice deep breaths. Opening up all down the left-hand side, softening the right elbow. Seeing if we can come over a little more for this last exhale. Rising up on the inhale, touching the palms at the top. And we're going to take a twist today, twisting to the right. The left hand comes forward, the right hand goes back behind us. We wave length through the spine as we inhale, and we turn tummy, chest, shoulders, head on the exhale. We use each inhale to unwind a little and lengthen through the spine. Get that space between the vertebrae, and then from the base of the spine upwards, we spiral round into the twist. One more time. Exhaling, releasing round into that twist. Keeping the hand on the knee, going to lift the right hand up and come over on the diagonal for a side bend. Now breathing into the right side of the body. One more big inhale, exhale. And then bowing forwards, bringing the hands onto the ground in front of you. Use the hands to press yourself up to sitting. And if you have the legs crossed, then cross them the opposite way. If you want to keep the legs out in front of you for this, keep them out straight in front of you or wide apart, that is your choice. Otherwise, we're crossing the legs the opposite way and lifting the spine, touching the fingertips to the mat. Let's do the other side. Inhale, just the right hand now, going up, exhaling over into our side bend. Trying to keep that top hand over the top ear. Gradually, we might be able to bend the left elbow a little more, come deeper into this side stretch. One more breath here. Rising up, touch the hands together. Ready to twist to the left this time. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes back behind you. Inhale, wave that length up, and then turn from the tummy, up through the chest, around through the neck. Inhale, find that length one more time. Exhale into the twist. You only need to go as far as feels right in your body. You will feel the point of resistance. One more breath here. And then keeping the right hand on the left knee. The left hand lifts up and we come over in the direction of our right knee. Left arm is over the top ear. Breathing into the other side of the body now. Nice big inhale to finish. Exhale, bows you forward. Hands come to the floor. This time, walk the hands out in front of you. Lift the heart. Inhale. Let's have a nice flat back, ready to fold forward. Hinge from the hips. Bend the elbows. Come forward. Maybe you creep the hands forward a little bit here. Inhale again, lifting up. Exhale, bow it down. Let the head go now. Breathe into the back of the body. Pressing the hands into the floor, walk yourself upright. And then come onto hands and knees, tabletop pose. Inhaling here to lengthen the spine. Hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Exhale, rounding the back into our cat stretch. Inhale, dipping the hips, lifting the head, lifting the heart. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Unless you want to come down onto your forearms, lengthen the crown of the head away from the sit bones. Inhale here. Exhale, round the back up towards the sky, pushing into the hands, dropping the head. Inhale, hips tilt forward, lift the heart, lift the head. You know the drill, flexing the spine between cat and cow. I want you to see if you can think about what the mind is doing whilst we're moving. Is it planning, imagining, analyzing, judging, worrying, comparing, remembering? Keep working with the breath. No rush, but on your next exhale, let the hips start coming back towards the heels and bring yourself into your preferred option for child pose. So maybe the head is resting on the hands or down on the mat. Perhaps the hands come all the way back to the feet. The knees might be wide, toes touching. Or perhaps you like the thighs to be more parallel, rest down towards the thighs when they're together. Breathe in and out here. Notice what the mind is up to when we're still. And then bring the hands forward. Walk them forward. Rising up to kneeling. Keep the hips up in the air and come into our half down dog or puppy dog pose. Palms pressing into the mat. Heart releases and relaxes down towards the floor. Walk the hands back up towards you. You can stay on all fours. We're going to take downward dog otherwise, if that's okay for you. So hands just in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes, inhale. Exhale, lift the hips. Don't try and straighten the legs straight away. Now, if you want to stay in kneeling or come back to the floor in kneeling, then you can take one foot out behind you. Take the right foot out, tuck the toes and push through the right heel. If you're in down dog, then you're bending the left knee, pushing through the right heel down to the floor. breathing into the stretch that you feel down through the back of the right leg, and then swapping it over. So taking the left heel now back, pushing it into the floor, bending the right knee, exploring that stretch. And then come down to kneeling. I want to show you an option for down dog, which is hovering cat. Okay, it's somewhere in between. So we still tuck the toes to prepare. We lift the hips, but we stay with quite bent knees, can round the back a little like a cat hovering to pounce. Okay, remember that option. I'm going to use it maybe in a minute. Now I want to explore plank pose. So I promised you plank pose in our last session. Lots of options for plank. It's strong on the core. I'm not going to lie. So one option is to come down to forearms. And this takes some of the pressure out of the wrists, the elbows, maybe the shoulders a little bit. Either you can rest down with the palms on the floor, or you can link the fingers together and make more of a triangle with the arms. Classic plank pose is done with straight arms, and we really need to push into the floor so we don't let this weight come into our shoulders, okay? We've got to activate the arms, protracting away. So whichever of those options is best for you, come into it now. We'll have a little go at a half plank first of all. So taking the right foot back behind you, tucking the toes. I want you to push into the hands, push into that back foot, and lift the knee off of the floor. Dropping it down again, give that one more go. So you could be down on forearms. Inhale, lifting the knee. Exhale, down again. Let's try the other leg. Left foot back. You want the shoulders over the wrists, or if you're on forearms, shoulders over the elbows. Okay, this is quite a forward position. Inhale, let's engage all those core muscles to lift up. Exhale, down to the floor. Now let's give full plank a go if that's right for you. You can come straight down to the knees if you want to. So both feet going back now. And the idea of plank is that we bring ourselves into a straight line. So we want to think about head, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all in a line. I want a straight plank of wood that I could make a bookcase out of, not a nice archway over a door. Okay, so option to drop the knees down to the floor at any time. Let's everybody sink back to child pose. Circle the wrists, stretch out the fingers, sway the hips, do whatever you need to let go of that work. And now I want to take that into a flow. So there's going to be 4 movements. We're going to work with the breath. If you can, I want you to observe what the mind is doing at the same time. So, okay, lots happening here. Posture 1, we all rise up to kneeling. Hands are a little bit in front of the shoulders. Posture 2, either that crouching cat or push yourself all the way up into downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into your plank pose. If you're on your wrists, then those wrists are under the shoulders. If you drop the knees down and come onto forearms, those elbows are under the shoulders. Really engaging the core. And then we sink back. Posture 4 is child. Okay, let's go through those options together with the breath now. Inhale, rising up to all fours. Tuck the toes. Exhale, crouching cat all the way to down dog. Inhale forward into your plank, your choice. Exhale, coming back to child pose. I want you to do that 3 more times, flowing through with your breath length, leading the poses, taking your options, observing what the mind is doing. And there's no rush, but next time you sink back into child pose, stay there. Release the back, release the hips, release all of those core muscles. Come into stillness in your chosen child pose and observe the mind. Notice where it went during that exercise, where it is now, what it is up to. Good. And then I want you to reach the hands forward. Slither onto your tummy and prepare either for cobra or for sphinx. If you want to bring the hands forward, forearms on the floor, absolutely fine. Otherwise, for cobra pose, hands are under the shoulders, elbows tucked into the ribs. Keep those elbows pointing back, not out to the sides. On an inhale, going to lift the heart forward. On the exhale, drop down to the floor. Keep those hips and thighs glued to the floor. Let the upper back do the work here. Remember, if the lumbar spine feels like it's working too hard, then perhaps you could engage those core muscles a little more. Drawing in the tummy muscles is going to relax the muscles across the back. Turning the toes towards each other sometimes helps widen across the back of the hips, getting that feeling of softness here. The work is happening in the upper back, the thoracic spine. One more time, pushing yourself up, easing yourself back through a cat stretch into child pose. And from here, preparing to come up into a forward fold. So you might rise up, tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog, or you can make your own way towards a forward fold at the front of the mat. Perhaps you want to stride or even do a little bunny hop forward, up to you. Ending up with the head relaxed, knees gently bent. Shake out the head, yes and no. And let's take a couple of breaths here in our forward fold. Choose whether you want the feet together or hip width apart. Hands come onto the shins. Inhale, we lift halfway up, trying to lengthen the spine. Exhale, hips go up, head goes down. So the legs straighten on our exhale as we bow into our forward fold. Try that again. Hands coming to the shins, halfway, inhaling, lift. Exhale, bow down, hands drop down, head drops down, but the hips go up and we feel that hamstring stretch at the back of the legs. Rising up now, push down into the feet, roll yourself up, shoulders coming back and drawing them down, palms facing towards the front. rising into your mountain pose, feeling grounded down through the feet, feeling that rebound up through the body, right up to the crown of the head. Let it float up to the ceiling. Good. And whenever we're in stillness in yoga, remember you're welcome to close your eyes. Coming inwards is a great way to check in with the body, and today check in with the mind. We're going to challenge it a little bit by bringing ourselves into a balance. And this is a great opportunity for the mind to go flying off, but you tend to notice you've got to bring it back to concentration in balances. Let's see what happens today. So think about the left foot being the standing foot first of all, and shift your weight into the left leg. So let's lift the toes, spread out the toes, press down through the foot. When you're ready, lifting the right foot, placing it on the left leg, and you choose whether the hands come to the heart or stay down by your side. Keep the breath going, smooth and slow, and notice, what is the mind up to? Is it analyzing what you need to do? Is it judging how well you're doing it? Perhaps it's worrying about the balance, comparing, remembering what it's been like before, imagining what the perfect tree pose would look like or feel like. Perhaps it's planning what to do next. Well done. Bring your attention to the mind. Keep the breath going. Couple more breaths if you can. Gets more challenging the longer we hold a pose in our balance. Finish with a nice big inhale. Exhale, the foot comes down to the floor. Take a moment in Tadasana, mountain pose in the middle. Keep watching the mind today. Shifting the weight now, lifting the right toes, spreading them out, placing them down. When you feel the weight is shifted into the right foot, lifting the left foot and placing it on the side of the leg. I don't mind whether it's above or below the knee, whether the hands are out to the side or at the heart. Take that fixed point, which is so helpful for the balance, probably not looking at the screen, looking at something that won't move. Good. And noticing what the mind is up to. Well done. Nice, steady breath. Can you lengthen up through the crown of your head? Drop the shoulders away. Keep going. What is the mind up to now? Perhaps it's comparing one side to the other, imagining how long this is going to go on for. Couple of breaths if you can before we take the foot down to the floor. Let it be an exhale. Plant the foot down on the floor. Come into mountain pose and breathe. Harness that mind. Noticing what it's doing. It's going to be doing one of those things. Analyzing, judging, remembering, comparing, planning. What is it up to? Really good work. And then let's turn to the side, see what happens in our warriors today. So turn to your left and nice big stride, as wide apart as your leg is long. Turn your right toes to the top of the mat. Draw the back heel back a little, so left heel draws back. And ready for warrior two. Inhale, lift the arms up shoulder height. Exhale, bend the front knee. Come into your warrior pose. Lovely. And remember that knee wants to be over the ankle, so perhaps you adjust your stride. How does this make you feel? What does the mind make of this posture? Lift the heart, Keep the gaze down the middle of that arm, the middle finger, the middle fingernail and beyond. Unless you want to take the hands onto the hips, see how that makes you feel. What is the mind up to? Press down into that back foot, the outside edge of the back foot. Feel yourself lift a little on the inhale and sink down more on the exhale. Big breath in here. As you breathe out, bend the right arm and bring it down onto the thigh. Top arm can stay on the hip for a moment until you feel into your side angle. So find that line of energy from the back foot all the way through to the crown of your head. And then if you feel the chest is open, the top shoulder is rolled back, you can lift the arm if you want to. Good. All the time noticing what is going on in the mind. Whenever you can think of it, bringing it back. What is going on? Nice big inhale here to finish. Exhale, spin the hands down to the floor, frame the front foot, turn the back foot, and you're in a lunge. Take a breath there. Push down into the hands. Step it back to down dog. You can stay here for 2 breaths or you can come straight down to kneeling. And then we're all joined together in tabletop pose for our knee to nose posture. So hands are under the shoulders. Knees can come a little closer together to help the balance. And we're going to lift the right foot out behind us to start with. Flexing the foot, toes point down towards the earth, the gaze is down between your hands, nice long spine. Inhale there, exhale, bring the right knee up and underneath, look towards that knee, round the spine. Inhale, take the foot out behind you. Exhale, draw everything into the center, use the core muscles. Out again with the foot, nice big inhale. This time the exhale brings the knee down to the floor. Let's swap sides. You can always do this on forearms, remember. Inhale, take the foot out behind you, nice and flexed. Find that length in the body. Exhale, draw everything in. Look towards the knee. Knee towards the nose and then out the foot goes again. Inhale. Exhale, round the spine, let it fly up towards the ceiling. Inhale, opens you out. Exhale, rest the knee down to the floor. Sink the hips back into child pose. 2 deep breaths here. Observing the mind. Rising up to kneeling, making our way into that forward fold again. If you want to come through down dog, you can walk, you can take a lunge, or maybe you bend your knees and hop forward, a little funny hop forward. Whatever you want to do, coming to your forward fold. This time hold your elbows, opposite elbows. Have a little sway, side to side. Think about how you're going to rise up. Feet together, feet hip width apart, up to you. Pressing down into the floor. Let's start lifting up. If the hands are coming out to the side, nice, strong, engaged core to lift the back up. Otherwise, you're rolling up. Bringing the hands all the way back to mountain pose. And taking 2 breaths here before we do our warriors on the other side. Calming the mind, preparing them for what is to come. Let's turn to the right this time. Nice big wide stride with the feet. Feet start parallel to each other and then we turn. Turning the toes, the left toes this time to the front of the mat. See if you can take a bit of a wider stride. If the thighs start complaining, you were right, you can move it in again a little bit, but most of you, I think, can take a little wider stride. Inhale, let's lift the arms up, shoulder height. Exhale, bend the front knee. Come into your warrior. Take a sneaky look. Okay, is that knee over the ankle? How does that feel in the thighs? Draw the thighs together, rise up a little on the inhale, and then sink down. In the exhale, the tailbone going down to the floor. And breathe. Notice the mind, observe what it's up to. Lift the chest, drop the shoulders away from the ears. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the front arm, come down into your side angle. Spin the chest as best you can so that it's a side angle, not a forward facing angle. Once you've established that strong diagonal line of energy up through the body, it's up to you if you want to lift the hand up, maybe even over the head. Observing how that changes the posture and what's happening in the mind. Good, keep the breath going. Inhale here to finish, and then exhale, spinning towards that front foot, toes turning into your lunge, pushing down into the hands, step it back to downward facing dog, straight to kneeling if you want to, or 2 breaths here. If you're in down dog, bend the knees, take those hips far up to the sky, long spine, and then straighten the legs, heels coming down towards the floor. Feel that opening along the back of the body. And then come to kneeling. Now we can do the same knee to nose posture as we did before, or an extra little challenge for you is to do it in plank pose. Plank pose as we are on the arms or on the forearms, whatever suited you best. If you want to change your mind at any point, you drop onto the knees and continue from there. Okay, from whichever position you're starting in, let's lift the right foot up. Inhale there. Exhale, draw the knee forward, round the spine, look towards that knee, take it back again. Inhaling out, exhaling, forward it comes. Really good. One more lift of the foot backwards and rest down into kneeling if you're not there already. Preparing the body, preparing the mind for the other side. Come into your version of plank or stay as we are on all fours. Make sure the shoulders over the wrists or the elbows, depending which pose you're in. Lift that left foot up, heel comes up. Inhale, exhale, draw the knee forward, round the back as best you can. Nice and strong with that core. Exhaling, everything comes into the middle, then one more stretch back on the inhale. Exhale, come down to the floor and melt back into child pose. Notice what is happening with the mind and what did that change or do. Observing where it goes, where it's been. And gently using the hands to press yourself up to sitting. Bring the feet forward in front of you and take them out nice and wide apart as they'll go, with the toes flexed up to the ceiling. Feeling a bit of a stretch going on in the thighs. Sit nice and upright. If you want to put a blanket under your hips to help, that will be a bonus if you're rounding the back a little bit. When you feel you're established in a posture that you could stay in, you can bring the right foot in. Bring it in, tuck it into the thigh, and we're going to take a side bend over our straight leg. So turn the torso towards the bent knee. Rest that left hand on the left straight leg, and the right hand floats up on the inhale. On the exhale, it's a side bend over the straight leg. Okay, so we're not turning towards it. Spin the heart again towards the sky. Top arm wants to be over the ear. If it's in front of the face, then you're probably leaning more forwards than sideways. Lift up a little bit. See if you can line yourself up so it's a lateral side bend. Maybe that left hand creeps down the leg with each exhale. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it stays exactly where it is. Press the right knee down towards the floor for an extra stretch. Keep the breath going. Last big breath on this. Inhale to come up. Exhale, hand comes down to the floor. Take that right foot out again and re-establish yourself in this wide-legged seated posture. Okay, can the feet go any wider apart? I know when I've got to the point where it's like, no, they're not going wider than that. Okay, and then you can bring your left foot in. Settle yourself. If ever you want to pad up the knee, if it feels like it's floating about in midair a bit, you can put a cushion or a block underneath it. See if you can sit nice and upright, and then turn yourself towards the bent knee. So the torso is facing towards that bent knee. Right hand this time comes onto the right leg, wherever it rests. Inhale, the left hand floats up and over we go on the exhale. That right hand slides down the leg. Might be a tiny bit. You might be nearly lying on your straight leg. Doesn't matter where you are with that posture. We're breathing into the left side of the body here, letting it open out, and using the exhales to release and relax us. Can you bring your attention to what the mind is doing whilst we're here? Is it planning, imagining, analyzing, worrying, judging, comparing, remembering? 2 more big breaths. And we're going to rise up. Use an inhale to come up. Exhale, bring the hand down. Take both of the feet together out in front of you. Have a little shake of the legs. Well done. Now, it wouldn't be classed this half term without boat pose. So we're going to see what the mind gets up to during our boat posture. Let's come into our starting position, whether it's an M shape with the hands on the floor, beside or behind the hips, or whether you want to bring the hands behind the thighs. Unless you want to take this lying down, that's fine. If it's not right for you on the coccyx, you can lift the shoulders a little bit up. You'll still get the core work. Inhale, lift the heart. Try and keep this straight spine. Exhale, rock back onto your sit bones. Engage all those core muscles in order to hold you here. And then your choice. You can take the hands away. You can lift the shins parallel with the floor. Flex those toes, and if you want to, push through the balls of the feet to straighten the legs and feel the work in the thighs, in the tummy, in the sides of the waist, the hips. Keep breathing. Can you notice during all this what the mind is up to? Keep that heart lifted. Can you take 2 more breaths? Don't strain. You know you can come out if you want to. 1 more breath, and then drawing the knees back in, exhaling down to the floor. Let's come back to lying down, and you can have a hug of those knees, a little rock and roll and a massage. Again, bringing the attention to the mind. Does it change when we come out of a posture to what it was doing in the posture? Dropping the feet down to the floor. Let's stretch the legs out nice and long. And on an inhale, if you've got room behind you, lift the arms up and overhead. Stretch through the fingertips and the toes, full body stretch. And then on the exhale, bring the hands back, over and down beside the hips. We're going to take a spinal twist, a little bit different to how we've done it before. Notice and observe in your body, your mind, how this feels. So we're going to start with both legs straight. Hands can come out in a T shape. So the arms make a T shape, shoulder height. And then bending the left knee, lifting it up and over the chest. You can bring your right hand to the outside of the left knee. Glue that left shoulder to the floor. See if it will stay there. Inhale here. On the exhale, guide the knee. Roll the hips over. We're going to the right, but trying to keep that left shoulder on the floor. Coming into your twist. Now, you decide if there's any pain, discomfort around the lumbar spine, bend both knees. Take the posture more like we usually do. You can shift the hips back, settle into a spinal twist. If you're staying with one knee bent, one leg straight, then see if you can find somewhere for that top foot to settle. Maybe it's on the straight leg, maybe it's behind it, in front of it. Shimmy the hips. You know the adjustments to make. And that right hand can stay resting on top of the bent knee, or you can stretch it back out into a T shape. Last choice is whether the nose stays staring up at the sky or it turns in the opposite direction to the knee, looking out towards the right hand. You can close the eyes here if you wish, as we take some nice, deep, slow breaths. Breathing in to tightness, breathing out, letting it go. Letting gravity take us ever deeper into the twist, body sinking towards the floor. Allowing the posture to happen. Is the mind permitting this to work? What is going on? Couple more breaths in and out. And then let it be an inhale, where you roll onto your back. Take the feet out long so the legs are straight again, and settle yourself into the center of the mat. Everything lined up, head, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all in one line, and observe. Observe how this feels, maybe how one side of the body feels different to the other. How are the hips, the legs, the shoulders, the arms, and notice the mind. And then we're set up for the other side, bending the right knee, lifting it towards the chest. The left hand comes to the outside. Glue that right shoulder onto the floor, that right arm still extended, shoulder height, if that's okay for you. Inhale here. Exhale, gently guide the knee over. Let the hips roll, but the shoulders try to stay flat on the floor. Coming into your twist. Doesn't matter if that knee is touching the ground or if it's floating up into the air. Find a comfortable place for the foot to rest. If this is uncomfortable, and definitely if it's painful, then shimmy the hips back, bend both knees. Find a comfortable way to be with this twist. Choosing to take the arms out both shoulder height or keep that left hand on the knee. And finally deciding whether to turn the head away from the knee. Taking that full body twist if that's right for your neck. And breathe into it. Relaxing down into the floor. Let the body find the resistance and breathe into that place. Use the exhales to take out the tension. Let it go. Relax the muscles. Notice the difference if you close your eyes or keep them open. And coming to the mind, if you haven't already, is it planning, imagining, analyzing, judging, worrying, comparing, remembering? Last nice deep breath. And rolling yourself onto your back. Stretch the legs out long. Bring the hands down beside your hips. Everybody coming into corpse pose for a moment here. Letting the toes drop out to the sides. Palms face up to the sky. And noticing how this feels for your body. Is this the right relaxation pose for you? Now is the time to get hold of any extra layers if you'd like to. Anything you want to place under your head. If the chin is jutting up to the sky, maybe a blanket or cushion under the head. And really deciding if this is the right relaxation position. If not, if there's any lumbar pain, discomfort, or you feel the back is arching uncomfortably, bend the knees, feet wide apart, rest the knees together. Constructive rest pose. Have a little wriggle, make yourself comfortable, and allow the eyes to gently close. Releasing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw, the hips. Let the tummy be soft, the breath be natural. The arms and the legs are heavy as you sink into the floor, more with every exhale. One last time, I'm going to ask you to watch the mind. What is it up to? Judging, analyzing, worrying, imagining, comparing, planning, remembering. And then letting go of that exercise. Realizing that we can sometimes be unaware of where the mind is going. the patterns that it's making, whether we're ruminating, going over and over things in our mind. And if those thoughts are negative, okay, we all have negative thoughts sometimes, but what we don't want to happen is that becomes a habit. I want to finish with some positive affirmations. These are short, punchy statements which we're going to say to ourselves. I want you to repeat them after I say them. And it doesn't matter if you don't truly, truly believe them at this moment in time. I want you to say them to yourself like you really mean it, because these will make positive patterns, positive habits in the mind. I'd like you to say silently to yourself, I release my fear. I let go of sadness and anger. I choose to be happy. I am strong and confident. I believe in myself. I am a unique and beautiful soul. I completely love and respect myself. Breathing in these positive affirmations, integrating them into the mind, into the body, into the very soul. Letting the inhales begin to deepen now, bringing energy into the physical body, starting to move fingers, toes, slowly moving the head, stretching out the limbs. Having a yawn if you like, maybe hugging the knees into the chest. And rolling over onto your right side, resting there. When you feel ready to, gently pressing yourself up to a seated position. Bringing your hands to your heart. Going to finish with a couple of energizing breaths and our Om Shanti 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 chant. So inhaling, taking the arms out to the side and up, touching the hands together. Exhaling, bringing the hands back to the heart, sighing out. Inhale, energizing breath in. Exhale, releasing, relaxing breath out. And joining with me if you wish. Inhale. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking a bow to yourself, to your practice, and to our busy working mind. May we bring peace and calm. May our yoga practice help us with this. Namaste.